Do you ever start the podcast with just like bits of us talking first before I get into the
Usually
intro?
not, but sometimes I put it at the end.
You could do that now. Just put it in like this week. I think it'd be pretty good to do that.
I usually put it in at the end because it's extra funny when like every week almost it's exactly like you're making noises or whatever and you're like, are we rolling? And I go, we're rolling, and you're like, okay, and welcome to the
You could keep this in here. It's like a cold open almost.
It's like a really cold, like it's over, like you're in the freezer, and you know it's
like absolute zero cold open. Yeah. Anyway, hey, welcome to the Fuzzy Loaf podcast, where we talk about what's going on in news and pop culture. I'm Scott. That's Matt.
I don't know why I said
I wasn't even mad. I was like, not a whole lot to talk about this week. We're gonna try to stretch it out for as long as we can. We'll see what happens. Tried to get other people to come on, but you know, other people have lives. We really don't.
Yeah, my nephew was like, where are you going? And I was like, I'm going to go make loud noises into a microphone for a while. And he goes,
is that what you said?
Yeah. And he's
was your nephew over at your house?
Yeah.
Oh, and you're like, he's like, what?
Yeah, and he's like, are you really? It's like, yeah.
How old's your nephew?
7 now? Something like that.
You could probably old enough to understand the concept of a podcast, right?
I'm sure he's well, he watches YouTubers and stuff, so at least the basic idea of what a podcast is.
Can you imagine what it'd be like to grow up at 7 with YouTube and all that stuff? Like, it's just being there. It's crazy. Like, I can't even, like...
Yeah, because we were, like, what, 15 when YouTube started? 16?
Well, YouTube started in 2005, so we were about 12. I was 12.
Yeah.
You know, so... But when it really hit prime YouTube was only, like, a few years ago, really.
Yeah, I mean, it was probably, like, 2010, 2011.
When it really became kind of, like, a resemblance of the YouTube that exists today.
Well, I remember when, like, I would just go to YouTube and look on the trending, like the homepage, to see like funny videos. Like that's essentially
all
what
it
YouTube
was for like the first like 5
years. 30
years.
second to a minute long clips.
Because there was a limit. You could only have YouTube videos like they couldn't be more than like 10 minutes or something back then.
I think back then it was maybe even like 5 minutes.
And now
early on.
You can stream like 48-hour like loops.
Yeah.
Of He-Man going yeah. You know, so
it's crazy.
I just like, because I see like little kids with like iPads and stuff, and I go, dude, I just can't even like fathom growing up with that from the beginning.
Well, like my niece, she records videos and puts them up on YouTube, but they're private videos. Well, yeah. But it's like, dude, when I was that age, because she's 2 years older than my nephew.
She's like 9.
Yeah, so it's like, dude, that's crazy. Back then, I was like, I remember I got like a little crappy handy cam, and I would like try to make videos, and it'd be like 10 minutes long, and it'd be like, the memory card is full.
Well, when I was like 9 years old, we didn't even really have cell phones. Weren't even like what they are.
Yeah.
Like my mom had a cell phone because I remember when I was in 6th grade, my mom had a cell phone that was like one of those. It was kind of chunky. It wasn't super big, but it was pretty thick, like kind of like Nokia's. And when I would go hang out with my friends, you know, when we'd go like skate around town or whatever, I'd have to take her phone and keep it in my pocket. And this is this big old fucking chunk. And then like 7th grade is when I actually got my first like flip phone.
Yeah, my first phone was a flip phone. I think it was a Nokia flip phone.
I think mine was a Samsung.
You know what? Yeah. It was a Samsung. Mine was like on T-Mobile, and it was like the blue Samsung.
I was on T-Mobile too. It was like a light blue kind of.
Yeah.
And then I broke it or something, and I got a Nokia that had a camera on it. That was the coolest.
I think mine did have a camera on it. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I got that in like late 7th grade because I didn't have my crappy little one for very long.
Yeah.
We didn't have texting at first, and then we got texting, and it was a whole new world.
We had unlimited texting, and the first month, I sent over 21,000 text messages. And my parents were like, there's no way you're not texting during school. And I was like, yeah, but I'm getting straight A's, so it doesn't matter.
Well, like, we don't pay attention to, because everyone has unlimited texting now.
Yeah.
Like, it's just a thing. So I have no idea how many texts I send in a month. It's probably less now. Probably send more tweets. But like,
it was ridiculous.
Because I remember years ago when I would have I would talk to somebody through text message through an entire day. Mm-hmm. Like that would just be like our entire interaction. We would just like I wouldn't even see them. I would just text them all day, and then now that just doesn't happen anymore because we're like adults.
Back then, I'd be talking to like 10 or 15 people at the same exact time. It's like now I don't even care about 10 or 15 people.
Now I just text me like, hey man, what's up? Yeah. Hey, you want to do this? Or hey, check this out. Or like, hey, you want to make plans for Friday?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Makes me feel old.
It's like when I was a kid, but it makes you feel old, but at the same time, I'm like, when I was a kid, I thought 23 was like so old and adult. Now that I am 23, I'm like, I'm a fucking baby.
Yeah.
I'm a child with adult responsibilities.
Yeah. Yeah, we had a conversation yesterday. Megan was like, I feel like such an adult now because I have a Costco membership. And I was like, that doesn't make you an adult. And she's like, yeah, but I'm an executive member, which means I get to go to meetings and stuff. And I was like, that sounds so fucking boring.
Why would you be an executive member? What do you get from that?
You spend more money. I don't know.
Do you have to pay to be a member at Costco?
Yeah.
No, that's why I'm not a member at Costco.
We have one only because Ashley's mom pays for membership and you get 2 cards with it. So it's like, we got ours for free.
My parents have a Costco. I think Costco... Maybe they have a Sam's Club too, but they have a Costco because they have an American Express card that I think is like basically this. You get a Costco membership with American Express or whatever. I don't know. I like when they go to Costco for me.
Yeah, there's a lot. I mean, they have a lot of good stuff, a lot of fresh food and stuff.
Just get it all in bulk and last you forever, and buy like 700 rolls of toilet paper.
Yeah, man.
I had when I first moved out. To go to the U, I got a big like industrial toilet paper thing from my work. Well, before I started working there, because Steve gave it to me, and we just had this big ass box of toilet paper that we just kept on the back porch, and I think it had like 90 some, maybe more rolls of toilet paper. Lasted almost the entire year.
Yeah, I think when we first moved out and we moved into the Maplewood apartment, we bought a thing of toilet paper from Costco, and that lasted us the entire time we were at Maplewood.
Your entire lease?
Yeah, because I remember we were on like the last roll when we were moving out. It's like, well,
I think we ran out kind of close. I think some of my roommates didn't use that toilet paper.
Yeah,
it was mostly just me because I lived with there was 5 of us in our house, but it lasted like a hell of a long time. It was great. The only problem is it's not good toilet paper because it was like industrial toilet paper.
Oh.
It's like the kind of like, still good. Kind of like scratches your butt.
Yeah, I think it was still Charmin, but it was a ridiculous. It was one of those like 80 packs.
I should have my mom take me to Costco one of these days.
Yeah.
Yeah, get some stuff to bring for lunches to work.
Not a bad idea.
We got off on
a weird tangent.
I like it though. I feel like that's more interesting than us just being like, yeah, that's cool. Yeah. Okay, let's move on.
All right. Well, what's the first thing we want to talk about?
You talk about the Superman suit that they revealed this week in Supergirl. Why they didn't show it at Comic-Con is kind of weird.
Do we know for sure that they didn't show it at Comic-Con?
They didn't. I heard people that were at the panel for Supergirl, and they're like, because they didn't show anything at Supergirl because they weren't filming yet. And they're like, why didn't you show us this at Supergirl to at least give us something?
Maybe it wasn't finished yet.
Must not have been finished yet.
Yeah.
I mean,
maybe somebody dropped the ball.
Production schedules, but I think it looks really cool. He looks interesting as Superman, not like the Superman that not like Superman traditionally looks.
Yeah, I don't think he'll be bad as Superman, but I don't.
No, he's a good actor.
I think the suit is like spot on.
Doesn't it look cool?
Him though, I don't know what it is about him. He's like too hairy or something.
Well, Henry Cavill's pretty hairy.
Yeah, but I just mean like he's got like.
His face isn't as
like super.
His face isn't as to me. His face isn't as square as like traditional Superman.
It's a little bit more angular.
Yeah, he looks a little more like Superman was like a model. Mm-hmm. But so check this out. I was on Twitter and like a comic artist or whatever. He drew that Superman suit in like kind of like a comic style.
Oh yeah,
that looks pretty cool, doesn't it?
That like it looks very traditional Superman, but then getting rid of the dumbest part of the Superman costume, which is the adult diaper.
But it looks, and it's basically like that's all. It's they basically just took the undies, the briefs on the outside, and just made it a belt, and then they added like the little like gold connectors for his cape. you know, it's a little slight departure, but I wish Superman in the comics looked just like this. That'd be like. I mean,
could you imagine if Superman in the DC universe had a costume like that
in the
movies in the DCEU?
Oh my God,
instead of the fucking like almost black Superman
it's
suit.
It's so dark. It's so stupid how dark it is. I was like, but yeah, here's the. I mean, it's kind of dark in this picture, but when you watch it on the screen, because Supergirl looks dark in the picture too, but when you watch it on screen, it's a lot brighter. But I think it's really cool.
Yeah,
it still has some kind of texture to it, but it's not the entire thing. It doesn't look like an Under Armour thing. Like even in Man of Steel, how even the emblem is all weird textury.
Yeah.
This one just looks like it's kind of made out of like a
something that might be like flammable.
A more not something flammable, that's like
what's the word? Retardant.
Flame retardant.
Flame retardant.
Well, it looks like something that's not just
like cloth,
like a leotard. Yeah, something that's not like a morph suit material, like they were back in the old days.
Well, because they didn't want to actually spend the money on costumes and stuff.
Yeah, they didn't realize they're like, it's just some goofy superhero thing. Just put them in a stretchy, weird costume or whatever.
Yeah, our budget is $5 this week, so if we could make that suit look...
Well, it costs like $3 million an episode for Supergirl.
Jesus.
They do 22 episodes a season.
That's a lot of moolah.
That's way more than I'll ever... 3 million's more than I'll ever see in my life. Yeah, for me. Yeah.
See or own, like have?
Both?
You've probably seen more than 3 million. Because just think, this house is worth money, that's worth money. Anytime you see lots of stuff that's worth money.
Oh my God. Get the fuck out of here.
All right. Other bit of it's kind of big news from DC. Dope actress Kiersey Clemens, I don't know if that's how you really say it, but that looks how it's spelled, is playing Iris West in the Flash movie.
I mean, that's
opposite of Ezra Miller.
It's fine. I don't really care, but just because I haven't seen Dope, so I have like no feelings about it. I hear
she's a great actress.
That's what I hear, so that makes me go, okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
Do you know how old she is? Even because weren't the kids in Dope like pretty young?
No, they were all like in the movie. Yes, in real life, no. She's probably like a couple years older than us. Kiersey Clemens.
I don't know. I've seen some actors.
She's 22. She's
a year younger than us. Yeah,
but she's your age. Born in 93.
I'm 23.
She's born in 93 though.
Oh, okay.
So I mean, like
she's a late.
Yeah.
93.
So a grade younger than us.
I have friends from high school that my old roommate Joe, he was born in like July 7th of 92, and I have another friend who's born in like her birthday was like a couple weeks ago, like July, like later in July 1993, and they both graduated the same year.
Wow.
So he just turned 24 and she just turned 23, but because of like weird like getting held back or like being like you can either be the oldest person in your class or the youngest.
Yeah, I was gonna
person
say
in
there's
your
like
class.
that weird buffer zone where they're like it's kind of up to you as the parent whether you want them to be.
My birthday's in February, so it was just like not even a question of where I would be put. Yeah. But I've seen it where someone who was like a couple weeks younger was a whole grade ahead of someone else.
Yeah, there was a couple of my neighbors. One of them is only like a month and a half older than me. I want to say they were born like early September, so I guess like 2 months older than me. But they were a full grade ahead of me.
Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, another weird tangent. In other news, Jeff Loeb at the TCA says that Marvel's TV and movie universes aren't actually connected. When he says it's all connected, he means the movies. Which is funny because that's not how they made it sound originally.
I don't think he knows what he's talking about.
I think he's just.
I don't mean to undermine like
no, but
whatever.
But here's the thing: is I can understand if their idea has changed. They don't want to be locked into where they want the artistic ability to be like this is going to cross over and this maybe isn't.
They're connected, but very loosely. the references between the back and forth are going to be very minimal.
As long as, in my opinion, it's fine as long as there's not anything contradictory that happens. Where it's like,
right.
Fucking Thor dies in the movie, but in the TV show, he shows up and is like hanging out and it's like buddy cop. Not that would ever happen, but
or
you know what I mean?
Like in the movie, they just happen to nuke Hell's Kitchen, yet Daredevil's still around.
Yeah.
Something like that or whatever, which... It depending on watching the movies and stuff, it feels kind of like you're not gonna, because the TV runs on such a small scale, especially the Netflix stuff, and the movies are such grand scale where like even for something to happen to contradict the other, it'd have to be like very very like deep cut.
Yeah. Well, and I forgot what I was going with that. Never mind.
Nice.
That's what happens sometimes.
I mean, I think like the biggest connection we're gonna see going forward will be like, oh, there's Stark Tower in the background.
I remember what I was gonna say. The thing that would drive me the most nuts is if they pulled like a DC where we have this person playing this same character on TV and we want to use them in the movie, so we're gonna cast a different person as that character. Like that's where
Marvel's gone so actually kind of the opposite.
Yeah.
Where they've cast the same person as different characters in
Yeah,
the movies and
that's true.
TV. I mean, she played like a really small role in Civil War. It was the lady who like gives Tony the picture of her son that died. She's going to be a main character in Luke Cage, but she's playing a whole different character. Something like that.
Yeah.
But like even Doctor Who has done shit like that, where like Peter Capaldi has played multiple characters in the Doctor Who universe, and he's the Doctor.
But that sort of makes sense because...
But they address that because it's sci-fi, so they can do whatever. Like, oh, I knew his face from somewhere or whatever. They basically, with Doctor Who, there are no rules. They can just do whatever the hell they want.
Yeah. But that would be the only thing. The two things that would drive me nuts if Marvel did.
Oh, cast different characters to play different people to play the same character.
Yeah. Like if it's a big enough character that you want it in both, then it should be the same character. Like the person from Thor, I feel so bad, I'm not going to remember her name. Alexandra...
Jamie Alexander. Yeah, lady. She plays Lady Sif. She's the same in the movies as she is in the TV.
She's gorgeous.
So, yeah, they're they'll probably even like cut crossovers like that, even like down even more.
Well, and we'll see, because I feel like we're gonna see at least a marginal crossover with the Netflix stuff and the MCU.
I think they're more willing to cross over the Netflix stuff than they are
with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah,
I think
I wouldn't be surprised if season 4 is the last season of
Same
Agents
with me.
of
I was
S.H.I.E.L.D.
just gonna say the same thing
because I don't really watch it anymore. Not that it's bad, I just lost interest in it.
Third season actually picked up. It was.
I watched the first half of third season, but I didn't watch the second half.
But I understand, because the same thing happened to me with like Flash and stuff like that. I know I always say like the time stuff, but it was just one of those. The break was long enough that I fell off, and then it wasn't that the show was bad necessarily. It was just like I could do other things right now.
I feel bad because I fell off of iZombie.
Oh, iZombie.
I didn't lose it. I just fell off it.
You should go back.
But I'm gonna. I just planned on binging season 2 when it's on. I think it's on Netflix now.
Yeah.
Or really soon. I was just gonna binge season 2 because I feel like iZombie works maybe better as a show to binge.
Yeah. I
heard season 2 gets crazy.
I prefer to binge watch shows. That's my preferred method. At least in like, it doesn't need to be all of it. It doesn't need to be all of it in one sitting, but like at least a couple episodes at a time. I hate the week to week. I seriously do, because a lot of times it's like shit comes up and I can't watch it.
Well, because I kind of like the week to week, because then you have everyone talking about it, like, and being like, oh yeah, I wonder what's gonna happen next week, whenever. But with a binging, you have to be like, oh no, I haven't finished it, because you have people that finish it in the first 8 hours it's released. Yeah. It was like because I was watching a video on Stranger Things and stuff, and they were talking about it, and they're like, this is a show that maybe could have benefited from being like a week to week release, but it also works really well as like an 8-hour movie.
See, I would prefer, and I know networks will never go this way, but like if Netflix did this where it was like, we're going to release an episode a day over the course of 8 days, because to me that works much better. It's less time in between. You still get the like, this happened, oh my god, I can't wait to see what happens next. Or like once every couple of days. But like the once a week thing, a lot of times it's like if I miss it that day, you know what I mean? It's just like it. I don't know. I fall off a lot.
Netflix has been playing with the like once a week. They have the Chelsea Handler show or whatever on Netflix now, which is it's new episodes weekly.
Yeah.
So they're messing with their format, and I don't know, it's kind of cool. Works. It's better. Okay, at least their schedule is more predictable than Steven Universe. Where that's one show I just love, but I never know when there are new episodes of it because it's always be like, oh yeah, we just ran 5 episodes in a row this week, and now you're not going to see any new episodes for 4 months, and it's just like, what?
Yeah. A lot of those animated shows are very strange with production schedules like that. Like, aside from South Park and like The Simpsons, they're like most animated shows.
Yeah, because those are like primetime adult animated series.
Most animated shows, it's like we have an idea for 4 episodes, and it's like, oh, you're approved for this budget, or you're not. You need to cut these things or whatever. And like you'll hear about it all the time, where like a show will be canceled, and there was like half a season that they were in the middle of working on, or like half a season
that was done
that they finished, but they didn't put out because this, that, or the other thing. Yeah, and I was like, what happened?
Or like an entire season with like Clone Wars.
Yeah,
because it was bought by Disney, so they had an entire season of Clone Wars that was done and would wrap things up, but because Disney bought it, they're like, nope. So they aired that whole season on Netflix.
Yeah, or like a lot of the 90s and 2000 cartoons on Nickelodeon were very much like there was like 8 episodes and then like nothing ever again, or like 3 episodes. Like Angry Beavers is a great example.
There was a lot of episodes of Angry Beavers,
but they only showed like so many on Nickelodeon as reruns. They would only show like a certain amount because towards the end the relationship got like really volatile between the show creators and the heads of Nickelodeon, and there was like direct.
That was like Invader Zim too. It was like that, but Invader Zim gained such a cult following that years later Nickelodeon just embraced how crazy and absurd Invader Zim was. You know, now you can't go to a Hot Topic without seeing a bunch of goth kids with little Gerd shirts. And
I have all 3 seasons on DVD.
You're one of those Invader Zim?
Yeah, I liked it as a kid though.
I hated it as a kid. I was like, they have something that get turned into baloney. I was like, fuck this. I don't like any of this. This is terrifying.
I was a strange kid.
I mean, as an adult or as older, I appreciate it. His style's not for me because I'm not a goth kid.
But to me, it reminds me a lot of like Adventure Time or shit like that, where it's just like off the walls.
It paved the way for modern animation, for sure.
But you're right, like the animation style and stuff is very much like, it is very much like the I'm a goth kid.
Well, I mean, have you ever read Johnny the Homicidal Maniac?
No, I haven't read
that. That's what Joan Vasquez did before, and it's very, very goth kid. I read it in high school, thinking, "Oh, I'm so cool for reading this," and as I look back, I'm like, "Oh, I'm a fucking dork."
We're all dorks.
It's very Hot Topic.
Yeah,
you know. But, don't know where I was going with that.
I don't know where you're going with that either.
I don't know where we're going with anything.
Should we get on to the big old topic? Old conversation?
Whatever. Okay.
So we're going to talk about Stranger Things. We both finished this season, so we're probably going to get into spoilers. But before we get into spoilers, do you just want to talk about whether or not you enjoyed the series and what maybe you enjoyed about it without being like spoilery?
Okay. So we're a little late to the Stranger Things train because I was busy with other stuff or whatever. Didn't even think about checking it out. Then I watched it. Trying to think, did I enjoy it? Of course. If I didn't enjoy it, we would not be talking about it today.
Unless it was a stinker, like we talked about Batman v Superman.
Yeah, but like, I absolutely loved it. I thought it was great. The biggest like non-spoilery thing I liked about it is how cinematic it was. It was like the production value, everything. It was like watching just an 8-hour movie. And the music, oh my God, the music. I had to like look up a playlist of the songs that was featured in it. Plus they have an original soundtrack. And like that synthwave is just so good. The child actors in it, all great. I think that's the most I can get into without getting spoilery.
Yeah.
How about you?
I really enjoyed it. To me, it was, like I said, I've said this multiple times to different people. It was a show that I didn't know that I wanted.
Yeah, I think that was pretty much how everyone felt.
It was like that sci-fi horror feel, but it was like also that 80s kind of like Steven Spielberg feel good. So it was a bunch of things that I don't normally like pushed together, and I really enjoyed it. The music was fantastic. The acting was across the board was great. There wasn't a single person in that show where I was like, I don't believe their performance, or like it pulls me out or whatever. So I thought it was grade A, prime rib.
Perfect.
It's just great.
It was like the show is like, it's like Twin Peaks meets E.T. meets Close Encounters meets Alien meets like every possible thing you can think of.
Yeah. It's a very good. It's like a hodgepodge of 80s.
It's like kind of horror, but not really. It's more sci-fi,
kind of thriller, or like, you know what I mean.
Kind of thriller, because it's not really scary. It's more like, ooh, what's going on?
Yeah, it's kind of like a mystery, but it does have like a very Stephen King feel.
Yeah.
At certain points where I think they were giving nods to Stephen King.
Oh yeah, there were nods to everything. I watched a video that showed like side by side comparisons of like homages and references.
Yeah.
And I'll try to find it so we can maybe put a link to it. But I tried. That was like it was like Goonies. It was like Stand By Me, E.T., Close Encounters, Poltergeist, The Shining, Nightmare on Elm Street, Alien, just everything. And I was like, this is great, because like, I mean, yeah, you kind of realize it when you're watching the show too, but it doesn't like take you out. You're like, oh, that's a whatever moment. That's just like, that's great.
Yeah, and that's actually something I enjoyed a lot, because there was a lot of things that I did notice, but it wasn't, like you said, it wasn't like, pull me out of the show, like, oh, well, this was just like a cheap nod to this. It was like, oh, that's really cool, because like for the people that understand what this stuff is, like they've seen these movies or they've read these books, or like they understand these pop culture touch points, then it's like just an extra bonus for them.
Right. Yeah, because it's just, they did a great job. Those Duffer Brothers did a damn fine job with
the Duffer Bros
with this whole entire show.
Yeah.
I almost said movie, because that's what it is.
It feels like it.
Yeah.
And I watched episode 3 through episode 8 all in one sitting.
Oh wow, that's more than me. I did like 1, and then I think I did 2, 3, 4, and then I did 5, 6, 7, 8.
Well, we watched the first 2.5 episodes. We watched 1, 2, and then through half of 3. It was like Sunday or last Sunday night, and then you were like, you had mentioned that you were watching it and we should talk about it on the show. So I was like, okay, I gotta finish it, and then I finished it that day.
Wow. Yeah, I finished it on Tuesday. Yeah. I was just at work and I was like, I just want to watch Stranger Things. I just went home. I seriously just sat at my computer chair, because I didn't even lay in bed. I just sat at my computer chair for 4 hours and just watched the entire...
When it's one of those, episode 3 is really where it starts to pick up, and this is where we're probably going to get into spoilers, so I'm going to warn everybody for spoilers. But episode 3 is where it really starts to pick up. Like, episode 1, it gets your hooks in you. Episode 2 is kind of like developing characters and stuff like that. And then episode 3 is where you're like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah.
Like, I have no idea what's happening, and then it's like from there everything starts unraveling and you start finding out more. And what I really liked about the show is every episode, it felt very tight. Every episode had a purpose. There was not a single episode where I was like,
no filler.
This felt like filler.
I think it's not like, okay, we weren't going to have you do this many episodes. It was like, we have this story to tell. It'll take us this long to do it. And you're like, all right, that's fine.
And it felt like every episode you got to know more about certain characters. And it wasn't like, oh, this is this person's episode, but it'd be like, you like learned a lot about each of the characters separately and together and how they interacted and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And that's a point. That's something where I think a lot of shows end up failing, is you might know a little bit or like a lot about. I just bit my tongue. A lot about the main character or like main couple characters, and then like a little bit about each of the characters. But this was very much like I felt like I knew these people by the time the series ended.
Yeah.
And like their motivation and like why they are the way they are and all this stuff.
Yeah. What was I just loved the kids. Mm-hmm. They were just because those guys, they're the main characters of the kids, really. And they just all four of the little kids, they killed it. Mm-hmm. They did great. Everyone, they all had their role, and it was perfect. Yeah. Those kids are gonna go on to great things. Mm-hmm. I love seeing that when you see like young actors, whatever. You're like, you're gonna do well as long as you stay on the straight and narrow. You're gonna become like something big. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Did you have a favorite character?
I liked Dustin.
Yeah.
Most.
Yeah, he was the best.
Yeah. He's funny with his.
I think he's supposed to play like the viewer in the show, where he's like the most relatable and level-headed one, where he's like, you guys cut your shit.
But he's also like, he's the one who talks like an adult. Mm-hmm. But he's also the one who is amazed by everything. Like, that's so cool. Yeah. And then there's like, was it Lucas? Was that the kid's name? Where he's just like, fuck this shit. Fuck her. I'm out of here. I don't want to deal with any of this crap. Yeah. Let's just play Dungeons and Dragons. I don't want to deal with any of this.
Oh man, it was so cool, because there's like that's totally what it was in the 80s. They were the nerds, they were the outcasts, they were the ones that were playing Dungeons and Dragons and super interested in science and like were interested in ham radio and like, or all if like stuff.
Now they'd be the kids who would be like, they would be on the internet and they'd be playing video games and stuff. That's what they were doing then. And they were just I think I heard that the kid who plays Dustin is like, he's like a Broadway singer too. Like he was in like Les Mis or something.
He's got a weird name, so maybe.
What's his name?
Gaten Matarazzo. I have no idea how you even pronounce
it. That's an intense name.
Yeah.
But they were, like everyone was great. The girl who plays 11. Mm-hmm. Oh man, that was like, she barely says anything, but it's all
so much emotion. And like her eyes just tell you so much. Yeah. It was awesome. Like even Winona Ryder, who
I love Winona Ryder.
Well, she's kind of like fallen off.
Yeah, recently. She hasn't done anything in a while.
She was so fantastic in this. Mm-hmm. She played that disheveled mother that's like
who's just really distraught, but not like it was. But it wasn't to the point where it was like just crippling, where she couldn't deal with anything. It was like she's so like obsessed about this that she's taking action. She's like, no, I'm gonna find it. We're gonna fucking do this.
Well, like that scene, the first scene where the lights are going off, or she hears should I stay or should I go on the radio, and then she walks into the room and then like the lights are flickering and then the wall starts coming out towards her and she runs out and then she like takes a breath and then just like walks back like, calm and determined. And it's like, oh my God.
Yeah, this is a woman. That was like the flip. So she's like, no, I'm getting my son back. I'm like, yes. Because that's what the character needed to do, rather than just be like the.
Well, because that is kind of a
trope.
Yeah, trope is like the mother who lost the kid, or like whatever that role of that mother, where she's like at wit's end. She's an alcoholic. She's like this, that, or the other thing. That was what I was worried about was going to happen, is that she was just going to be like an alcoholic or something. And it's like, no, she was gone because she was working, trying really hard to be a single mother, and like her son was also gone because he was trying to help.
He was also working too. Yeah.
And it's like, that's a much better.
They're a realistic portrayal of like a family like that. Yeah.
Not that alcoholism is not a realistic portrayal, but that's what the trope is.
But it's a trope,
and
this was less tropey, but still following that same group. Yeah. They nailed it with this show.
Yeah, I don't think it's perfect. It's probably like, to me, if I had to rate it like from 1 to 10, it's probably like an 8. But it like, it's one of those I would highly recommend everybody to watch.
I'd probably give it like an A minus.
Yeah, but it's not like, there's nothing wrong with it, but there's nothing like super extraordinary about it. It's not super original, but it's like not really good. Yeah, it's really well executed.
Yeah, it gets a little predictable towards the end a little bit, but I think I've said it before. It's predictable, but it's what you wanted to happen.
Yeah.
And like it's sometimes what you expect to happen isn't always bad. You're like sometimes you're like, oh, saw that coming, you know. Sometimes you can see something coming, but that's the outcome you like, yep, that's what needs to happen and that's what I want to happen, so I'm okay with it, with me seeing it ahead of time. What did you think of the monster?
It was all right. The CGE was not fantastic for me.
But it wasn't bad
No.
for a TV series.
Yeah. It was one of those, they could have done something else that maybe was easier to animate or easier to do with like live, like an actual prop or something, you know, that looked more believable. Also, that part where they're like, okay, it's time to make first contact. Like I wanted more about that, because like, did they know that this other dimension existed? That these like aliens,
or they just find out by accident?
Yeah, and like, how did they know that she was going to make contact with them? Did she know that she was going to make contact with them, or did they think she was just going to make contact with them?
Apparently, the Duffer Brothers have like some kind of like 30-page, almost like show Bible with notes on the Upside Down and all this stuff and that and backstories and everything that they have just ready to go, where they said if season 2 does come up, they're prepared to just, you know, to start delving into that book more and more, or the 30 pages they have. So I'm sure things will get, it's one of those shows where information will get fed to us slowly over time.
Yeah. And like I said, it's never a bad thing, because when we got to the last episode, it's not cliffhangers necessarily, but there are things where you're like, I'm curious to know how they're going to handle this, or what happened here. Like to me, there's a very specific thing. I don't know why I'm dancing around it, because we already said spoilers.
Just say what you want.
When Hopper leaves the hospital,
gets in the government vehicle,
gets like into the government vehicle, the vehicle is driving away, they pan up to the sky. I totally thought he's dead. They shot him. They killed him. And then all of a sudden he's there, and like something shady. Like it just like, is he working with the government? Has he been working with the government the entire time?
Well, I'm sure we'll get answers.
Yeah, we'll get answers. But it's like,
I can't believe this show hasn't been greenlit for a season 2 yet.
Yeah, I think that's all bullshit. I think they have.
I think this hasn't been announced.
Yeah,
yeah, because it's all anyone's talking about. It's fantastic.
It's got nothing but positive reviews. Like I said, they're not
Netflix
10.0s, but Netflix doesn't give a shit about 10.0, because like Netflix just said at the TCAs, they were one of the presenters that opened the show. They're talking about how they understand that like ratings are what is necessary for cable television because they sell ads. He's like, we don't sell ads, we sell subscriptions. If people are talking about it and spreading the news and interested in what happens next, that means more to us than if 300 million people sat through and watched all.
Right. It's like the same way with
base.
HBO.
Yeah.
They're not have to cater to selling ad space. They're worried about getting subscriptions.
Yeah, and if they can keep subscribers, and if they can have a series for every subscriber, you know what I mean?
That like works better for everybody. That whole system. It's like a podcast subscription or whatever. You know, they don't. I mean, yeah, they sometimes do ad space, but if you subscribe to it because you like it, because it's good, and that's all it is. It's if you build it, they will come.
Yeah,
pretty much.
Well, it's like there's a thing called the theory of 1,000 true fans. And it's, if you can get 1,000 fans to spend $100 on you over the course of a year, then you've just made $100,000. And like, you know what I mean? That model is applicable to whatever you're doing in life. Like getting 1,000 people to like something is not that hard. Getting 1,000 people to like something to spend $100 on it in a year maybe is a little tougher depending on what you're doing, but it's also scalable. If all you were doing is something that was a hobby, if 1,000 people liked you enough to give you $1 a year, like that's probably more than enough to do whatever you know what I mean?
Yeah, right.
Like it's all just scalable. So the same is true for Netflix. They don't need 100 million people to like every single show they put out.
They only need 100 million people to like
at least one of
show.
Yeah, exactly.
I like Netflix for their original programming more than any of their like.
I've almost completely stopped watching anything else. I'll put stuff on to fall asleep.
I go on to their. I can't fall asleep with the TV on.
Well, Ashley likes to fall asleep. I fall asleep and then I wake up to the TV and then I turn it off. But she likes to fall asleep.
I can't. It has to be pitch black, quiet, nothing but the sound of a fan. Anyway, that was a sidetrack. But like, I don't really watch anything except for original programming, whether it's like their stand-up specials or original series on Netflix anymore.
Just the documentaries are fantastic.
I don't really watch a lot of documentaries. I should, but.
But that's one of those things, like, they don't need everybody to watch the documentaries. The documentaries are there for specific types of people.
Yeah. So, but yeah, Netflix is, I was talking to my old roommate, Sam, about it, and talking about how, like, Netflix is just killing it in the original programming game. And I like Hulu a lot. I use it, like, you know, I used it more when shows would be on the next day. But now that they're not going to, like, CW shows aren't going to be on Hulu, like, the next day anymore, I'm kind of, like, iffy on my Hulu subscription. I might just keep it anyway because you can get like FX shows and Comedy Central shows and stuff that are not on Netflix that are on Hulu.
Yeah, but they're like 3 weeks behind and stuff.
Not even 3 weeks. They're like full seasons like behind.
Yeah.
But that's how I found You Are the Worst, you know, which is one of my new favorite shows. And I mean, they've got like Criterion Collection and stuff on there, which I don't really care about, but like if I'm really gonna be like rooming with Sam again, you know, who I probably will be in the future. He's a Criterion guy. He collects those and stuff, and he would watch that on Hulu. So like, I don't know.
Yeah, to me, the reason why Amazon and Netflix are killing it in the original department is because they don't have to. It's kind of like with iTunes and Google Play and their subscription, or Google and their subscription services, is to them, this is just like gravy on top.
Right.
Or like the cherry on the top of the ice cream. They don't really need the money from this. This is just like an extra thing to incentivize people to live within their ecosystem. So I feel like that's the way it is for Amazon and for Netflix, and why they're able to produce such great shows is like, we have this extra budget that we can spend on stuff. We're going to spend it. We're going to make great things, and we're not going to be worried necessarily how many people watch each thing, but like that collectively there's a reason for people to
Netflix knows what to make because their analytics are so precise and everything. They can see how many people watch what for how long and everything, and so they're able to build shows based off that. People are like, okay, people like Kevin Spacey, they like Aaron Sorkin, they like, you know, political, or they're like, well, not Aaron, they're like David Fincher, all that stuff. We can build a whole series based off what these people like, and then boom, you get House of Cards.
Yeah.
You know, or people like adult animated things. Okay, boom, we have BoJack Horseman. You know, stuff like that. So, we'll see what happens in the future, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't really know how to sum that up.
Stranger Things, great. Watch it if you haven't. We didn't really. I guess we didn't really spoil much.
We didn't really even spoil much. We just basically talked about how much we like it.
I spoiled one thing with one character, which isn't really a spoiler because all I said was I thought he was going to be killed, and he didn't.
What? Hopper. With Hopper, right? Yeah. But, which is we didn't spoil like anything.
Yeah.
Good. It was a good discussion.
Yeah.
Hope we got people interested in it.
Dude, the music.
The music. I gotta check out that original soundtrack. Plus, I saw a website that made a Spotify playlist of a bunch of the songs that were featured in there, which I want to give a listen to because it's pretty good.
We saw Nerve on Friday. Movie was okay. It reminds me a little bit of Purge, where it's like, this is an interesting idea.
But absurd.
I don't think they really executed it greatly. Cinematography was fine, acting was fine, all that stuff, but there was just like small plot holes. Music, fantastic.
Really?
Great soundtrack.
Like, what was in there? Was it just the original soundtrack, or was it like songs?
It was like a hodgepodge of, there was like really great classic, like not necessarily jazz, but like songs from like the 60s and stuff, mixed in with like really good like pop music and really good like dance music. And there was a few songs that I hadn't heard of that I found that were like really freaking sweet. The original soundtrack was really cool too, because it was very much like Stranger Things, where it was like that 80s like wave synth stuff.
Cool.
Where those moments came in, and it was like, oh man, it's one of those things I didn't know I wanted it, but I wanted it.
I'm all about the synth wave.
Yeah. Anyways.
Yeah, man.
I don't know if you want to go on to Music Minute.
Yeah, we'll do a Music Minute. If you aren't aware, this week, a new album by the Descendents came out called Hypercaffium Spazzinate.
Yeah.
It's their first album in 12 years since Cool to Be You came out in 2004. And it's pretty damn good. Just like the Descendents that you've always known, since 1977 or whatever.
Yeah.
But they're all old. So, it's it's about basically dealing with, being old or being older, being an adult, compared to like all their other stuff where it was, very adolescent music.
Yeah.
It's still the same tone, same like music wise, but lyrically it's more grown up,
more mature.
Yeah.
That's something that I've always noticed is like listening to the punk music that I liked as a teenager now a lot of times has me like cringing, where it's like, this is stuff I understand why in the moment I related and like thought this was great, and I still like it musically, maybe a little bit, but like lyrically it's like, oh man, I wish there was music like this for adults.
Right.
And the same thing with like folk music. I really like a lot of newer folk music because it's more relatable to me than like folk music from like the 50s and the 60s and stuff, where it's like I don't really relate to what you're singing about,
right,
at all.
But yeah, so you listen to the Descendents, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah, I say definitely check it out. I bought the deluxe edition, which is like 21 songs, because I bought it on iTunes. So I bought the first two singles, Victim of Me and Without Love, on iTunes, and there was like for like $7.80 or $7 whatever, you can complete the album, or for like $10 you can complete the album with the deluxe edition. I was like, well, I'm just gonna get the deluxe edition because that's like 6 more tracks. Mm-hmm. Might as well for like $3.
Yeah.
So yeah, I gave it a listen. Can't wait to see them when they come to First Ave in September. But yeah, that would be my Music Minute, the Descendents.
Other music thing, not to steal your thunder, P.O.S. came out with a new song. Did you get a chance to listen to it yet?
No, because I really haven't liked a lot of the stuff he's put out recently.
I think this song is probably the best thing he's put out since his last album.
Wow.
It's better than any of it, because I agree with you, the last two songs
they were fine, but they weren't like, they didn't, I still bought them on iTunes,
mm-hmm.
but they weren't like anything that really like hooked me, not like the classic Doomtree P.O.S. Like I wasn't really into the newest the last Doomtree album as much as there was No Kings. I was like, oh.
Did you like P.O.S.'s last album?
We Don't Even Live Here?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I loved it.
Yeah, it was
fantastic.
Great.
I saw him. I was at the album release show for that. It was wonderful. But so yeah, my Music Minute this week: Hypercaffium Spazzinate by the Descendents.
Check it out.
And also, if you want, I haven't gotten a chance to listen to the whole thing yet. I was gonna buy it later, but the Descendents just released. Not the Descendents. God,
I was like, wait, what?
Just talked about the Descendants. Bouncing Souls.
Oh yeah.
Just released a new album this week as well. Mm-hmm. And I can't remember the name of it. God, and spell autocorrect did not work very well on my phone. It is Simplicity. Okay. Just came out. I've listened to 2 tracks off of it, Up to Us and Writing on the Walls. Very good, but I haven't gotten around to listening to the rest, so that's why I wasn't my Music Minute, but it definitely, I would recommend that as well as like a side music half minute.
Music 30 seconds.
Yeah. All right, so I guess that's it.
Yeah. I
think we did a pretty good episode this week.
Yeah.
For just being the two of us and not having a whole lot of news to talk about.
More conversational.
I think we need to do that. We more conversational, less worried about like talking about all the news bits. Where it's like, if we only talk about 3, that's fine.
Yeah.
As long as we just get into the groove.
I like your shirt, by the way.
Oh yeah, I got it off Yeti.com.
I'll include a picture in the link dump or something.
It was one of those like daily like one of those daily shirt sites.
Yeah.
We should start at like an Imager And that way we can like take pictures and like we'll put a link to pictures in the
I'll try to, like, if we talk about stuff, I'll grab links and put it in.
Yeah, maybe we should do can we do that? Can you do like an Imager account? We can like take pictures and link to it in YouTube for like, oh, here's the album for like this week or whatever. Since we don't have video.
I've just been putting in links, like in the description and stuff and time codes and stuff.
Right.
But
all right. Well, I guess that's it. You can find me everywhere online at Scotty Boy, BWO4Ys. Matt, why don't you tell the kids where you're at?
You can find me everywhere at Hagnerd, Hagnerd. You can follow us on Twitter at Fuzzy Loaf. If you're listening to this on iTunes, you can find us on YouTube by searching Fuzzy Loaf. Subscribe, give us a thumbs up, comment there. If you're listening to this on YouTube, you can find us on iTunes by searching Fuzzy Loaf. Big surprise. And you can subscribe. You can rate us. There's a star system there. I think it's out of 5.
It's out of 5.
So do that if you so please, and give us a review. Let us know what you think. I think I get emails when those come in. I'm not sure.
I don't know either.
I don't think any have ever come in. So make my day.
Sweet.
Make it happen. Make my dream come true.
All right. I got to go finish up my laundry, so I have some clean underwear to wear today. So with that, we'll smell ya later.